Hi guys. Okay, so here's part 3 of our investigation into creating facades for well, more or less occupy space so we can build around it and apply some new materials and get fancy and honky-dory, and as well as to work out any and all of the details that might be problematic as far as lighting goes. So if we look at this end here, first of all, our lighting solution is not the greatest. We will get into getting a better lighting solution as we progress, and it is required. But right now we just need kind of a working light to kind of predict how things are going to turn out. But here's how our current metro transit area is turning out. We got on this side excellent lighting, excellent shadowing, um, so looking very good, very good on this side of things. Enough resolution in the light map, UV mapping slot, and I think we got this set to a resolution of about 256. Can go lower than that probably during testing till we can find the butter zone, so to speak, for the surface area. But we have so little resource usage that I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But an optimized map is a happy map. Say compared to over here, you can see that the, the mapping is off. Considering the map resolution, though, it turned out pretty good, except that the shading and the shadowing on it is rather but ugly. So as I mentioned, we're going to be dealing with creating a facade for this item here, as to some degree of it being completed as a standalone building. So that will probably complete everything and anything you need to know as far as construction goes. And also, this is more or less the kind of the technique that I use for gray boxing. So we're actually using, as I said, the actual artwork as a means of reference, and build around it to ultimately have fresh, brand new, clean assets that is efficient and works great in Unreal 4 as far as lighting goes, and doing some testing. And I did some quick testing here. As you can see, we do have some material issues as far as objects that we won't be using, but as I mentioned, we'll need to pay a little bit closer attention to material changes that need to be done moving on to forward rendering. And as I mentioned, it's worth the effort due to the increase in the bump in frame rates. As to predictability, as to lighting, if we look over here, I put these blocks in place to kind of block the door. So when I look in here, I can see if there's any unusual or unaccepted behavior as far as the material goes, as far as our current lighting solution, as having no lighting solution in this area whatsoever. And in theory, if we have a wall there, it should be pitch black. The materials obviously are luminescent for some reason. I'm sure I can get Happy Day to tell me what he figured out. He's on a few occasions pointed out to Blade Killer, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But we do have some unusual, unexpected type of result over here. It kind of indicates that there is some kind of leakage going on over here. It is sealed. I got good coverage with that block, but we'll look into it. We won't bother with solving that now. We can probably fix that in due process as we start to introduce lighting into this area, or bring this over into a segregated environment, so we can focus on fixing these types of issues. Now, will it be worth fixing? Well, any kind of unusual behavior is worth fixing. But overall, our results is I would say excellent at this stage. We are going in the right direction. We can kind of throw in a point light to see how that's going to react into this area. We can go over here and turn off inverse, and with our point light selected, we can increase the attenuation radius, bring down the intensity, and turn off cast shadow. And we got a pretty good work light going on. We got limited bouncing going on, but if we did a light build and we set up our number of bounces, this area would have a really nice consistent lighting. We can see that the ceiling is well lit. We have some form of ambient occlusion occurring in the corners. We got a weirdness with the materials. Did I actually... where did the doors go? Control H? Ah, okay, I had them hidden. And let's take a look at what we managed to accomplish so far. So we'll delete this block, and we'll hide this door. Actually, I think the other side's easier to actually see what's going on. We'll get rid of that block. We just put this in to kind of prevent light from getting into it. And as I mentioned, I was going to off screen edit the volumes so they butt up with one another. And as you can see, that's part of the door jamb, I think. Oops, no, it's not. It's actually a shadowing effect caused by the block. Okay, we'll hide that. And if we go to unlit, all the way around. So our exterior facade is bound to our interior facade, but both of them are two separate elements. So that gives us a really nice control over lighting effect and preventing the lighting from outside from getting inside, which if you may or may not have noticed, can cause seam leakage. Those of you who are familiar with radiant, as I have discovered, is that a slight crack in the brushes between one brush and another, a small crack might as well be a 12-inch hole, and it can let in and light, being like water, will spill into this area, creating some really harsh artifact. The fact that we have a rather limited impact as to lighting on this area, it's isolated to this area. It's something to investigate, look into, but I would not freak out as that being a problem, because once we get some material on there, we can start looking at it from an entirely different perspective. Okay, so let's get on to our second part of the project. We'll turn that off or delete that light, and go ahead and replace this building here as a facade, which is block 37 on our hit list. And we're actually going to set this up as being, let's say, being ready as part of the completion of our overview of ultimately how things are going to look as far as setting up individual asset levels. And yes, I am getting a little bit tired. What was that block number again? As I mentioned, this is work in progress. This is not just me showing you how to do stuff. This is me actually working on this map. So I could actually do this. I can actually set up. I have a shadow play, so I can actually set something up on whatchamacallit to do this in real time. Okay, what was that again? 37. Oh boy, I'm doing good. Okay, so let's go over to our folder, and we're going to select it to make sure that all our builds are done in that folder. and turn it on, and we should be able to find it. There's our building ready to be converted. This should be quick because it's box modeling, and I've already demonstrated how we do box modeling, making the collision. Okay, so we're going to do a create. I'm also going to call this one this section of construction as being done, and go ahead and move forward with actually doing work, and get everything blocked in, and so the next time we come back with a future episode, it's going to include even more information as part of the iteration process. So by the time we're done, you're going to know everything about how this map was constructed from scratch, including, we're going to include some material stuff, and solve any problems that might turn up. But for now, let's get this building here in place. I'm going to do a move, do some quickie modeling. Move. Okay, convert to poly. And we're going to move this just enough so we hopefully can get some Z buffer fighting going on. In this case, Z buffering fighting is actually a good thing. Okay, we'll bring that in. I mean, we don't have to be this tight, but being a bit picky has always paid off. Has always paid off in the end. Okay, I want to, how do I want it to do this? Okay, we'll just kind of wing it. We need a bit of an extrude. And on this side, we need an extrude. And now we need to line it up a bit. If you can see the geometry, or the underlying geometry kind of poking through, you're in good shape. Okay, I need a nudge feature. I bet you there is one. There we go. So you can see the underlining mesh geometry is kind of bleeding through. Means less work. We can actually probably tuck it in behind the geometry, our reference. Come on. There we go. Little bit of effort. Okay, so now we have a sealed enclosure. Now the reason for this is so we can move the light in any direction that we want, and it's not going to blast right through the back face. Now I found that making a two-sided material kind of works, but it does tend to bleed, still tends to bleed through, as opposed to blocking. Now since the top end of this roof is actually, we'll actually put we'll model the top of the building in as kind of a completion factor, not so much that we're going to actually be using it, because I'm going to probably replace this all with ready-made assets that I have access to. I already have this section here. Yeah, you know, maybe I won't bother with that, because I do have an asset package that already has all of this stuff that for this kind of trim work already available, so that we can use that as an episode of how to steal ready-made assets. Now, to kind of fill in the space here with chit-chat, my opinion on ready-made assets is they're never ready-made. You usually have to modify it to fit the need. So particularly if we're doing a retro model, retro map here, we want stuff that actually fits 100%. I kind of lost my edge there, didn't I? Where is that? Okay. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm going to put put my modeling material on, and that will allow me to make more. There, that's better, isn't it? We can see. Okay, so ring. Okay. The reason why I'm also talking so slow is I'm also thinking at the same time about 6 moves ahead, where I have to actually put my edge loops, because I know I will probably overlook it. Also, I don't think the underlining mesh being its wireframe being white is productive. Let's do that as blue, and then we'll select. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking. Okay, ring, connect. You know, it's kind of like trying to drive in a snowstorm. Okay, we're looking good there. So what am I looking at right now? I'm looking at vertical alignment. Our doors down here align with these section of windows, and these here kind of aligns. This is going to be pretty quick, actually. I might have to go even slower. Okay, so now we create our window easements. I think we're kind of off kilter there. There we go. Okay. Yeah. We're kind of a little off on the top one, aren't we? It's also nice that all the windows are parallel to one another. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's just quickly blast through this now, because it's just a wash and rinse. The point of this section is to obviously is when we bring it into Unreal 4 to demonstrate another, not so much a requirement, but another workflow setup that I used quite a bit. So once trust me, I can work faster than this if I don't have to chit chat. So I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. Okay, we have some windows and a door down there, so we are in good shape. But we did forget an edge loop. You can probably see what it is. We're not going to get too fancy. The ideal being that since we already have some windows in place, once this goes in as the replacement, all the windows should line up nicely, which are going to get replaced anyways as well. Okay, ring around the rosy, do a connect, and line up our to the top of the door. Now that doorway looks a little bit different. We're actually have to pull it out a bit on this side, left and right, so we can create a hello. We need to create a countersunk type of easement there. Of course, on the other side, we kind of botched things up a bit. So let's do that again. Line that up. Actually, we can just select by edge. Yeah, I'm doing this on purpose. Yeah, so I can demonstrate different tool usage. Yeah, that's it. Oh, Usually when I get screen flicker like that, that's usually an indication that it is time to reboot. Actually, no, we don't do that right now because all our additional edge connections will then be off angle. Another reason I select this is because of the big hole there. It's starting to bother me. Oh boy. Come on, summer. Okay. Couple more edges and we're getting close to done. So most of the other buildings that need to be replaced is going to be done in this kind of manner. It depends, really. I already have some prefabbed buildings that I can just adjust for the purpose that we need it to serve. So once we got our initial setup, we're good to go. Okay, so yeah, we have a fair amount of cross sections here that are not going to be used, but in all honesty, this is a drop in the bucket as compared to the amount of geometry that I've actually tested on. Oops, oh, stop that, for crying out loud. That is so annoying. Okay, we got a couple of windows here still. Okay, so that means more edge loops. I think I do. Okay. We'll find out shortly. I might have just totally botched this up. Let's turn up our material here a bit. Yeah, okay. We're good to go. I hope at least you picked up, with all this modeling stuff going on, I hope at least you picked up some tricks to make use of if you're new to it all. I mean, geometry modeling, like this type of modeling, is, well, it's not usually done to any great extent in older type of engines, particularly as to IDTech 3. You know, it's predominantly brushes. I have made a couple of maps that were all geometry. Kill Room was all geometry, and it was actually more of a test map because I wanted it to try pre-baked textures, and it turned out pretty good. The same with Grand Hall, or whatever it was. I can't even remember that right now. Too focused on doing this. Okay, we'll turn on face highlighting, and we'll see if our extrude by number will do the job. Yeah, you can see here where the building interconnected with the one next. Oh, stop that, please. Interconnected with the other buildings. Now this should work as far as getting everything done in one go. We are going to leave the back facing on it. Okay, actually, I need to finish that door that I forgot. So that's, we now can select edge. Actually, select by edge is a better tool to use here. So we'll select the edge and we'll nudge that over. Okay, just checking the bottom here, because when we do the extrude, we're going to be extruding right over top of the face, the bottom face. It doesn't extrude the bottom. Let's yeah, let's deal with, no, we already have our selection done. Okay, so we'll do a extrude by number, and we go into the negative direction, and we'll make them. We'll make the windows depth as deep as the doors. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay, so this door and this door are actually probably copied from one another. The actual depth of this, it doesn't matter. I have a UV mapping technique that I'll demonstrate that too as well when I get actually to the texturing and mapping for textures. This building here has looks like one continuous texture all the way around it. There's no floaters, no deco to worry about. So let's turn off our material here, so we can select the bottom floor, select that bottom piece, select that bottom piece, select that bottom piece. We got some nudging to do to finish that off. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to select our vertex tool, and we're going to select another tool, demonstration. I don't use it too often, but it's going to work appropriate for our needs here, and that's our target weld. Boom, boom, and boom, boom. Now the question is, do we need a bottom? I don't think so. So let's get rid of that. Ignore by angle. As we know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if we need a bottom, we can always put one back on, but I don't think we need one for now. Okay, we have a bit of an inset issue here. You know, I don't know if I should deal with that now or wait. Actually, it gives me an opportunity to show off some more tool usage. We want to keep quads, so what we can do is an inset. Did that work for us? Oh, no, we got some weirdness going on. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay, inset. Yeah, okay, that worked. And over here. Oh, I know. Select by angle still on. Inset. Okay. We're going to get rid of that bottom edge. So we can select by edge and select you and bring you down into line. We're going to eyeball it. I will fix that in just a second. Yeah, we're still causing some... Okay, we're in orthographic view. That's our problem. Now, I don't always work in perspective view 100% of the time. Just because I have a sense of space. Okay, there's a lot of extra detail in here that may or may that we don't obviously need, because you'll never see it. But I'm kind of questioning whether or not I just want to get rid of it. You know, I'll deal with that in the future. As you can see, we have some Z buffer fighting going on, so we got good alignment, and this is now block, what was it, 37? Okay. Now, by all means, do things the way that you feel best and most comfortable with. I just like having things in boxes and laid out, because at some point we're going to have a lot of little bits and pieces that match up. Okay, so convert to the poly. We just created the texture support map, which is going to be replaced anyways, so we're not too concerned. We just want to make sure that we don't get any errors, and we're going to change from channel 1 to channel 2, which is channel 1 in Unreal 4 for the light map. And as I mentioned many times before already, when we use the auto mapping, it maps everything out proportionate to so even if we did put a texture on here, if we looked around it and what have you, we don't get big here, small there kind of effect. And I just like to keep things clean, so we're going to bake the UV map down into the geometry that leaves us with the polygon We got block 37 set up. We have a UV map set up, so we're ready to export by selected. And we're in block 42, which we've already dealt with, so we need another new folder. Block 37. Now, why do it this way? Put an individual block into an individual folder, because we're going to be putting more, all probability, putting more and more working parts into these folders as we move along. It also separates everything from the reference material, so we don't accidentally overwrite that, which is not devastating, but still rather annoying to correct it later on. Okay, now final step and final video for a while. Gonna have to give me about another week to get to the point where everything is set up the way I want it to be, and we'll have a little bit of a talk about where I'm at and how I got there. And next time you see an episode, all the facade work and all the proxy works and all the placeholders should be done and ready to rock and roll, and getting on to actually applying some materials, replacing windows, and doing all the stuff that makes this a map, the fun stuff. And you'll see everything laid out before you. New folder, block, what was that again, 37. And we go into block 37, and we'll bring up our browser here, and we'll go back to FBX. Go into block 37, drag and drop that in. We'll do a last minute check here to make sure. Okay, generate UV map is off. Combined mesh is a good option, because if we wanted to, we could have just taken all our reference stuff, put them into individual blocks, and then just have Unreal 4 converge all those little bits and pieces into a single geometry, which we are using for a reference. So you could have actually have bypassed that as a step. Now, import materials. Let's turn that off, because we're going to start applying more and more and more of our building materials. Hit the import button, and there's our block. And we're going to toss that in and hit our reset to our location. And ta-da, we have it overlaid exactly over top of our reference. We're going to take our reference, delete that, and that is actually, yeah, that's block 37. Okay, so that is actually, take a tour around it. Look at that. Our little bit of effort, and all our windows line up. Okay, and of course, if we put headers onto this, we're going to go ahead and give this a temporary resolution bump. 256 always seems to work for me. There is, as I said, there is a process that will allow you to dial in your UV map, so you're not wasting your resolution. And the first thing we noticed is, oh, okay, that doesn't seem to match up with, we got lights here that don't match. Oh, I know, there's trash cans that are supposed to be there, I think. Okay, let's go back to our reference. Maybe I forgot something, maybe. Okay, let's, nope. Nope, there's no doorways there. Okay, we're good, very good, we're good. Now, should I light this up? Actually, I need my map making material, so I'll select this. And next time when we come back, I'll also have everything set up a lot better. I have some map making materials ready to be able to drop that on there, and we'll have the UV mapping set up so in a way that we can tell if what surfaces are actually visible, so we can focus our materials in those areas and not so much in areas that are not visible to the player. So for example, back here we don't need a whole lot of material work as compared to over here, of course. So that actually turned out pretty good. Now, last step. With our block selected, we're going to go over here, and we are going to go up here and create new with selected actor, and we're going to create a support level. Okay, we're in reference right now, and we're going to create a new folder, and we need a name. Main assets. We could call it environment. We could call it mesh. Environment is a little bit more appropriate, but we're going to go in here and we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this block 37, and we're going to go into our block 37. Now, do we need to actually do that? I'm trying to recall here. We just need to be able to... No, we don't have to do that. Okay. We just need to have... because everything's going to be in that map anyways. So let's get rid of that. Okay. Not needed. Delete. I'm duplicating this kind of process down here. Okay, so block 37. And off it goes. And it should pop it in up here. And I'll do the other thing to the metro at some point. And when we come back from our break, our holiday, you should see a whole stack of these underneath our persistent level. Now, why are we doing this? Okay, hold on. Let's switch that over. The reason we're doing that is because we can go over to our... okay, let's quickly do a save all. We're doing it this way because... kind of lost track of my folder. Block 37. Reference objects. Oh, support level, main assets. There's our block 37. Double click on it. Okay, let's turn it off, unlight it. And we can pull our proxies or whatever into this area, so we can do some additional work onto this. And if we want, we can... okay, I haven't got the flow yet to actually figure out exactly where everything is consistently. So we can throw in our lighting level, and we can do a set this to quality production, do a build, and it will quickly compile this the lighting solution as we work along based on the type of material that we put onto it. And we should not be generating any errors. I don't see any errors, and this is this will be nicely lit to some degree that we can actually work onto it. So actually, I'll probably have a lighting level just for this kind of work. So once we make some updates and modifications to this, we can hand this off to our buddy Bob. Actually, did that actually build? I don't think that build. We have unlit. Let's see what happened. Did the swarm kick? Sometimes the swarm doesn't kick. Okay, lighting, lighting build completed, building completed. Lighting needs to be rebuild. Okay, that is weird, isn't that? It is giving us, you know, I'm not going to solve that problem. I think the problem is that this might not be set up for... no, the project is not set up. Let's take a look. Project setting. Okay, rendering. Sorry if we're going a little bit sideways here, but this is... no, we're set up for rendering, so it's persistent with the project, not the scene. Okay. You know, I'll deal with that another day. We kind of crashed and burned, didn't we? As far as something going on here. Yeah, there's some weirdness going on with the lighting here. That could be because we have distant occlusion or something like that, maybe. Anyways, you can see the benefit of doing it this way. Oh, I know why. Duh. Change streaming method. Okay. No, like I said, if I make some screw up, I will fix it in real time. I had the streaming level. Okay, we still got some weirdness going on. Stop that. Oh, I hit play, not build. Oh man, you know, it's late. Sorry. But I keep saying I'm working. So what you're seeing is me working. Okay, is the unbuild go away? No. We're still having issues. Huh. Why? Why is that? I changed the streaming method. Always loaded. Okay, guys. I'll get this figured out. As I mentioned, we did switch to forward rendering, so there's always little issues like this to work through. Okay, enough. We'll see you in a week or two, and we'll have everything kind of worked out. I hope. It could be just it could be a bug in 19. I don't know. Anyways, later, guys. I hope I've been at least informative. I'm sorry about the watching of the grass growth kind of stuff. And we're going to get into a little bit more excitement a little late. And as we started out, the way we started out so good, didn't we? Okay, sorry guys. Later.